G'day, legends. Welcome back to the MMA Husky Hustler, where the breakdowns are honest, the takes are spicy, and the Huskies already picked her winner just by who smells more like beef jerky. This week we've got UFC Fight Night, Dolidze versus Hernandez, and it's an absolute banger. Roman Dolidze is pure chaos, a man who fights like he's trying to solve a Rubik's Cube with his elbows. On the other side, Anthony Fluffy Hernandez
You don't love me! Yeah!
shows up with endless cardio, relentless pressure, and the vibe of someone who would wrestle a bear just for fun. I'll be breaking down the full card fight by fight, no fluff, no stats overhaul, just a bit of Aussie honesty, questionable humor, and of course, a cameo from the real star of the show, the Husky.
Now, love will begin.
Kicking off the card in the women's flyweight division, we have Gabriella Fernandes taking on Julija Stoliarenko. Gabriella is clean, technical striker with clean edge in speed, footwork, and movement. Her best path to victory is to keep the fight on the feet and use her lateral movement to stay away from Julia's pressure and grappling entries. If she keeps her jab pumping, fires kicks to the legs and body, and doesn't get greedy with combinations, she can piece her up from range and accumulate damage without putting herself in danger. If Julia starts to blitz, Gabriella should circle off rather than plant. She can also punish her with takedown attempts with knees or frames. Julia is relentless and gritty, with very specific skill set. Close the distance, get to the ground, and look for submissions, especially armbars. Her striking isn't pretty, but if she can make it functional, and if she crashes forward with pressure and turns this into a brawl or clinch-heavy battle, she can drag Gabriella down, even if it gets messy. Her top pressure and submission game becomes dangerous. The more chaotic this fight gets, the more it favors her. If she gets to the ground early, she could snatch a limb and end it quickly. I think Julia's path is too narrow and relies on getting to the ground earlier. Gabriella moves well enough to stay upright, and she'll likely land the cleaner shots throughout. As long as she doesn't get caught in bad clinch or throw a lazy kick, she should keep her range, land volume, and coast to a decision. Give me Gabriella by decision. In the featherweight division, we have Uros Medish versus Gilbert Urbina. Medish is an explosive sniper. He's most dangerous in the first few minutes. Long, fast, accurate, and brutal with his punches and kicks. If he stays standing, he has the cleaner technique and more natural power, especially early. He thrives when he can dictate distance and pick his shots. Urbina has been hittable before, and Uros will be hunting a highlight finish. If he lands clean, especially on the counter, he can put him out fast. Urbina is tall, awkward, and tough. He doesn't need to be perfect. He just needs to survive the storm and start turning the tide with volume, pressure, and grappling. If he can push Medic back, wear him down in the clinch, and mix in takedowns, or even just grind him against the cage, the momentum shifts fast. Medic has shown signs of fading late, and Urbina is kind of a fighter who does his best work in ugly fights. This is a big timing versus toughness matchup. Medic is a first-round killer. Urbina gives you openings. Unless Urbina smothers you early and turns it gritty fast, he's going to get cracked. Medic's speed and precision should be enough to find Urbina's chin before the pressure becomes a factor. Give me Medic by knockout. In the women's bantamweight division, we have Joselyne Edwards versus Priscila Cachoeira. Joselyne fights long and loose. She's high volume striker and she mixes kicks and punches well, especially at range. Her key to victory is stay composed and use her length. Priscila marches forward, but Joselyne can pick her off if she moves smart, throws in combination, and keeps her back off the cage. She's also sneaky with those teeps and body kicks, which can sap Priscila's forward momentum. If she stays disciplined and doesn't get drawn into a wall, she can rack up points and cruise on volume. Priscila is violence personified. She doesn't jab, she swings. She's hittable, but she's dangerous because of how little she cares about defense. If she pressures hard, walks through the flashy stuff and lands just a few big shots, the fight could shift. Joselyne has a habit of backing up too much and letting opponents steal moments. If Priscila gets her up against the fence or cracks her early, she can force panic and either swarm for a TKO or land something big enough to steal rounds. This is your classic volume versus violence matchup. Priscila always brings chaos, but Edward should be able to touch her up from range, keeping her turning and winning rounds on activity. As long as she doesn't get caught clean or coast too much, she'll stay a step ahead all fight. Give me Joselyne by decision. In the bantamweight division, we have Elijah Smith taking on Toshiomi Kazama. Elijah is sharp, powerful, and composed for a young fighter. His striking is clean and deliberate. He doesn't waste movement. He'll want to keep this one standing and take advantage of his opponent's openness on the feet. Toshiomi tends to blitz in and leave his chin high. Elijah can snipe with counters and possibly land something big and devastating early. If he keeps his back off the cage and fights behind his jab, he could clip Kazama or dominate on the feet over 3 rounds. Kazama is gritty, aggressive, and reckless with his grappling. If he can crash the pocket, force clinches, and get to the mat, he can drown Elijah with pressure. His best shot is to make this messy, keep the pace high, and chain takedowns until Elijah either breaks or starts giving up positions. Kazama's striking is basic, but wild enough to close the distance with him. If he keeps top control, he can steal rounds or even find a finish via ground or pound or sub. Kazama will bring the heat, but he's too hittable and linear. Elijah's composure and sharpness should shine here. If he stays calm under pressure and doesn't overextend, he'll find Kazama's chin, especially during one of those wild entries. Give me Elijah Smith by knockout.
Name this movie
in the light heavyweight division, we have Julius Walker taking on Raffael Cerqueira. Walker is sharp, composed striker with real power and excellent shot selection. He doesn't rush, he downloads data, stays behind his jab, and waits for his moments. Against someone as wild and aggressive as Cerqueira, that patience is deadly. Cerqueira will likely come forward recklessly, and Walker has the timing to catch him clean, especially his counter left hand or short right down the pipe. If Walker maintains range, uses feints, and lets Cerqueira crash into danger, he can line up a brutal KO. Cerqueira's aggression is a double-edged sword, perfect for Walker's sniper style. Cerqueira is a pressure fighter with big power and a kill or be killed style. He'll come forward throwing bombs, trying to make it ugly from the jump. If he can drag Walker into chaos and land something wild, or back him to the cage, he has the power to flip the script in one exchange. His best bet is to make Walker uncomfortable early and not let him settle into a rhythm. Walker stays composed early, lets Cerqueira throws himself off balance and then lands a clean surgical counter that shuts the lights out. Cerqueira is dangerous but reckless. That's the perfect recipe for a highlight reel finish from Walker. Give me Julius Walker by knockout.
Do you feel what I'm feeling? On my mind,
the middleweight division, we have Hernandez taking on Christian Leroy Duncan. Anders will try to press forward, use his wrestling, and control Duncan on the ground, and land heavy shots to finish or win round by damage. Duncan stays smart, uses his reach and technical striking to keep Anders at bay. He'll move well, avoid the big shots, and pick his counters cleanly over the rounds. Duncan outpoints Anders with superior footwork and volume. This one's going to be a technical chess match. Anders pushes hard, but Duncan's movement and precision make all the difference. When the ref raises the hands, the judges nod just slightly towards the slicker, smarter fighter. Christian Leroy Duncan by decision.
Make some noise!
In the bantamweight division, we have Miles Johns versus Gene Matsumoto. Johns is known for his aggressive striking and high output. He'll look to overwhelm Matsumoto with a barrage of punches and kicks, aiming to control the pace of the fight. While primary is striker, John has wrestling background and he can utilize it to mix up the fight to keep Matsumoto guessing. With a solid knockout record, Johns has the power to end the fight early if he can land clean shots. Matsumoto is known for his precise and technical striking. He'll aim to outpoint Johns by landing clean counters and avoiding damage. Matsumoto has a strong grappling background. Securing takedowns and controlling Johns on the ground could neutralize Johns' striking and earn him control time. Maintaining a high pace throughout the fight could tire Johns, especially if Matsumoto can make it a grappling-heavy affair. This fight is expected to be closely contested. John's aggressive striking and power give him the edge in the stand-up exchanges, while Matsumoto's technical skills and grappling could sway the fight in his favour if he can implement his game plan effectively. Give me Gene Matsumoto by decision. In the featherweight division, we have Andre Fili versus Christian Rodriguez. Fili is known for his aggressive striking and high output. He'll look to overwhelm Rodriguez with barrage of punches and kicks, aiming to control the pace of the fight. While not primary a grappler, Fili's takedown defense has been solid, allowing him to keep the fight standing where he is most effective. With a solid knockout record, Fili has the power to end the fight early if he can land clean shots. Victory by knockout or decision, depending on his ability to impose his striking and avoid being controlled on the ground. Rodriguez is known for his precise, technical striking. If he can avoid Fili's power shots and maintain distance, he could outpoint Fili over 3 rounds. Rodriguez has a strong grappling background. Securing takedowns and controlling Fili on the ground could neutralize Fili's striking and earn him control time. Maintaining a high pace throughout the fight could tire Fili, especially if Rodriguez can make it a grappling-heavy contest. This fight is expected to be closely contested. Fili's aggressive striking and experience giving him edge in the stand-up exchanges, while Rodriguez's technical skills and grappling could sway the fight in his favour if he can implement his game plan effectively. Give me Christian Rodriguez by decision. In the women's strawweight division, we have Iasmin Lucindo versus Angela Hill. Lucindo needs to push the pace with aggressive striking and use her reach to keep Angela on the back foot and look to overwhelm with volume and pressure. If she can mix in takedowns or clinch work, she might wear Angela down and control the fight on the mat or against the cage. Lucindo will want to finish inside the distance by landing heavy shots or ground and pound once she gets her opponent tired. Angela relies on slick striking and footwork, staying mobile to avoid Lucindo's pressure. She'll look to pick her shots carefully, landing clean counters and using precision strikes to frustrate Lucindo. If the fight goes the distance, Angela's endurance and technical striking will give her the edge to outpoint Lucindo. She might also sneak a submission or late stoppage if the pace slows. I see Lucindo outmaneuvering and outlasting Angela over 3 rounds, controlling the distance and landing sharper counters. Give me Lucindo by decision. And in the co-main event of the bantamweight division, we have Steve Erceg versus Odie Osbourne. Steve is calm, technical, and gritty as hell. He reads opponents well, adapts mid-fight, and doesn't get rattled. He has crisp boxing, an underrated ground game, and the kind of fight IQ that allows him to chip away at a guy like Osbourne. Where Odie is explosive, Erceg is consistent. He'll walk through some early fire, but if he pressures, mixes in level changes, and starts touching Osbourne to the body and legs, the tide will turn. He can drown Odie by combining pressure, clean boxing, and cage control. If he gets on to top position, it's a wrap. Odie is unpredictable, dynamic, and dangerous early. He throws heat with real knockout power and long-range strikes that can catch anyone slipping. His flying knees, explosive kicks, and big hooks are kill shots. If he can keep Erceg at range and force him to walk into something, he can absolutely shut his lights out. He'll need to stay off his back and fight at pace. Odie's going to be live early, but Erceg is too smart, too well-rounded, and too durable. Once he gets past the first round, the fight swings heavily in his favour. Expect him to wear Odie down with pressure and grappling and eventually drag him into deep waters and get him the finish. Give me Steve Erceg by submission.
Let it be for love. Let it be for love.
And in the main event of the middleweight division, we have Roman Dolidze versus Anthony Hernandez. Roman wins by keeping the fight at his pace, making it slower, more measured striking battle, and looks for big moments. He's dangerous when he can find space and land with power, especially counters, knees, or ground and pound if he can end up on top. If he hurts Hernandez early, he can swarm and finish. And that is Roman's path to victory. He needs to land something big early, a TKO within the first or second round. Anthony needs to turn this into chaos, constant forward pressure, non-stop takedown attempts, clinch, grinding, and high pace. He'll push Roman into deep waters, drain the gas tank, and rack up control time. If Roman fades, the finish might come in rounds 3, 4, or 5. Otherwise, Fluffy breaks him down over those 5 rounds. I see Anthony having too much pace and too much pressure. Roman is dangerous, but over 5 rounds, Fluffy's relentlessness should take over. Give me Anthony Fluffy Hernandez by decision.
What it takes to